We have to get permission.
Is this going to be?
And we are here. First episode of Final Fantasy VII Snap Bros coming at you.
I love the radio voice. We need like sound effects.
Pew pew pew.
Zing, zing.
I do want to say this, like, because none of us are podcasters or vloggers or any of this right now.
I'm pretty sure we've all done this before.
If we end up doing this sort of thing, that's fine. But for now, let's keep it casual. Okay.
Let's not get political. Let's not get political. Our audience doesn't want
this
that.
game is about climate change.
It's about
great. We couldn't last 10
Yeah.
seconds.
We're going to get into that too. We're going to talk about what our thoughts on what this game was so far. Climate change is a big part of it. Pollution. But just have fun. Let's not lose sight of what we're doing here. Yeah, everyone's played the game so far. Is that right? Everyone's played the game before too. So I don't know if, for the sake of that issue with the podcast we're talking about, if you want to like go around and introduce everyone first, and say a little something about yourself. Or
I don't think we should mess with it. I think we should I think we should just feel it out and feel the dynamic, and if we like it for a podcast, we can do it later, but I don't think we need to worry about that.
I definitely agree with that. I think I do kind of want to hear, like, because nostalgia is such a big part of this, I do kind of want to hear like what people remember, like why the game was important to them, like what it was like playing it for the first time. Maybe we could all say like just a few sentences like about what it means to us, kind of thing.
Yes.
So
I know it's kind of lame, but
no, it's good.
All right, cool.
I'll go and start off. Like, I played this game. I thought I played the game like much younger than I really had. Whenever Mom bought the game out, it was released in '97, I think it was.
Oh wow!
Puts me at 14 when it came out, and I think it was already out like a year or two after it came out. But that sounds about right. But I just remember it being like definitely one of the first games that ever where the plot line really mattered to me, where I recognized that like video games could be a storytelling medium, was not just like Mario jumping and side scrolling in terms of a platform. And honestly, still to this day, it's probably in my memory, one of the best moments, like in terms of playing games. I haven't played this game since then, so I'm really interested to see kind of like how that pans out. But I remember at the time being just like mind blown by it, even at that age.
Yeah, I'm really curious to hear if that's because I had played it. I don't think I beat it, but I played a bunch of it like a couple of years ago on an emulator, and then this most recent time again on Xbox. So I had played it a little bit more, Cito. I'm curious to hear in a little bit, once everybody has a chance to talk, how it's holding up for you so far, because this is already a pretty good chunk of the game that we've already played. Not like a ton of it, but enough, I feel like, to have a sense of that. I would say that for me, this game was a game changer for me, like for real, in terms of what, as you say, Cito, what video games can be. So I was like 13. I'm a year younger than Jose, obviously. I was 13 when this came out. And I just remember that, like, a couple of things that, like, because you have to get to save points in this game, right, to save your progress. And I remember that thing of like, I am supposed to go to dinner or whatever, go downstairs for dinner, but like I haven't hit a save point, and I'm like, I cannot, like, I'm not going to, like, that feeling of like addiction of like, I have to get to a save point right now. It was so engaging for me. And the storyline is, you guys know, like, I like that. And it was one of the first ones with like really slick cutscenes which to me, the cutscenes like still hold up to me. And I thought it was fantastic. I was intrigued by the story. And then also the fact that it was 3 discs. Like, I had never seen a game like that.
Yeah.
I was like, are you shitting me? Like 3 discs? And that immediately just made my brain go like, what is this that I'm about to play?
Yeah.
Like, this is a whole different thing.
They were like, I remember, I don't mean to cut into something else, but I do remember that, like, that being a big thing on PlayStation. And like, I feel like after playing this game, like if games had more than one disc, it automatically meant to me that it was like something a little bit more value, or like I was going to get something else, something extra out of it.
Well, didn't they used to do that with director's cut games? I feel like I had Resident Evil director's cut, and I think part of it was like you had the original disc, and then they had like an extra disc.
Yes. Yes.
You Spawn.
Well, yeah, I remember like I played it around the same time. It's kind of interesting because it's like a very formative, like a time period being like 12, 13, 14, and I think I was looking for something maybe a little bit more mature in video games. And it hits a spot. I remember like I was all amped to get to like buy an N64, but my classmate like started talking about Final Fantasy VII, and just from how excited he was about it, like he was like, "Don't get an N64, get a PlayStation and play this." And I don't know how he compelled me to do that, but it was the right choice. And it was, I think the writing in the game is so good. The characters are so like real and like seem like driven by like moral purpose, and like that really resonates with you, I think, as a kid when you're looking for something meaningful. And the game is like super deep, super meaningful, on top of just being like just a riot to play.
Yeah.
I would say for me, it wasn't actually my first RPG. My first RPG was Super Mario RPG. I don't know if anyone played that.
That was awesome. That's an awesome.
I definitely know of that game for sure.
Yeah, it was amazing. Again, I think I just looked it up. It came out 96. So
that's
just a year ahead.
Squaresoft game too.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, I had no idea. Damn. I know when I played that, I had one of my best friends growing up through elementary and middle and high school was very much like at that time more of a gamer than me, and I think I was raving about Super Mario RPG, and he's the type of guy, like he played all the Final Fantasies and has like one and up, and he was like, oh, you should play Final Fantasy VII, and I think like going into that, I don't know that I unsurprising probably to anyone here, I don't know that I paid too much attention to the story at that point. I think I just like read like a guide to get me through the things I needed, and of course was like, oh, these like animated chicks are hot, and like this game is so fun to play.
It works on a lot of levels. I mean, honestly,
so many levels.
So many levels
for a 14-year-old boy. So many levels.
Yeah, and I do remember just like, yeah, being borderline obsessed with just playing it, and I played it, I think, through at least 2 or 3 times of just trying to do as much as I could without a guide, but then going back, and it was kind of the first time too, I think, that I was like interested in not 100%ing games, because I don't have that much of an attention span for it, but actually like getting the best materia or getting the best, whatever, like weapon, and figuring out what that was. And just remember being a joy to play. And the last thing I'll say is like I liked the length of the game too, because I feel like every other game I was playing was pretty short, of course by today's standards, but I felt like that one, like that part of the 3-disc thing, it's like it just kept going, and it felt like you really got a lot of value out of it.
I remember distinctly leaving Midgar, and you like, in my mind, I have no frame of reference for what is going to happen. Like, and we had played RPGs before as well. Like
it was mind blowing.
On Sega.
It was mind blowing.
It wasn't that I was new to RPGs, but the scale of the game was something I couldn't comprehend. I remember when we left Midgar, and we had played most of that game together, Sito. When we left Midgar, it's like when you realize there's like a whole world that you can access, and you get out on the world map, and then it's like party management and like, you're out on the world map. I'm like, that blew my fucking mind. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God, like this is a whole nother thing. Like I just felt like the scope of it was so impressive to me at that time, of course, as a child.
It was like it was a huge reveal, and it was also like, oh wait, that was just like the introduction. Like,
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
which was just crazy,
Yes.
That speaks to the pacing of the game too. Like I like you mentioned like how long games are getting right now, but like this game never felt to me then, and it hasn't really felt, at least on this playthrough so far, that like there are times where I'm like bored with what's going on, or I feel like the pacing is off. Like it works really well, and it keeps giving you like more incentive to play as you're going through. I don't know. We'll get to the ending scene, but I had that same reaction now when I played through as you were talking about we had back then. When we got out to that bridge, we're like, oh shit, like we have a whole new part of this game to kind of unlock and explore.
Yeah.
I want to ask, who's playing? Everyone here is playing on Switch except for you, William, right? You're playing on Xbox?
I'm playing on Xbox, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How are you guys finding the switch to the handhelds, or on your case, William, your switch to Xbox? Has it been relatively a similar experience to what you guys remember from when you first played it?
It's a little brutal. I've switched to using the D-pad instead of the joystick because I can't like get the characters to move in diagonal.
It's
like
hard.
at all.
We're gonna get to the barrel scene part. I completely couldn't do that with anything because of and when we're climbing, we'll get to that, but when we're climbing the wall, I also had a really hard time with that because the thumbstick didn't seem to be working. I don't know. I didn't like it at all.
Do you have a D-pad on that controller?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like four little buttons.
I like the analog. Like it seems to work okay for me, and just like less like wear on my thumb or whatever. So my fingers hurt a lot. So, like,
those fingers.
Yeah.
I don't have the callus. I don't play as many video games as you guys. I'm like soft,
These guys this is like leather.
I've got calluses on my thumbs, baby.
Yeah, like Mario Party, like all that stuff. Like the option for 3x is just like so great as an adult, just to like get it done, and like and also the pace of games has changed, so I think it feels too slow in the battles feel like too slow sometimes, especially when you're just going through enemies. So that's an awesome thing. Yeah,
I do too.
I mean, maybe not the bosses, but like the like just random enemies,
Yeah, I've actually really liked the Xbox controller for generally. I do know what you're talking about. I think there are a couple of times where the stick is a little bit awkward to control for whatever reason. And like you say, Cam, you can switch over to the D-pad. It's a little easier. But in general, and mine has that same thing. You can click the left stick to increase the speed. And I definitely have done that a couple of like I did that. I remember going up the steps.
I want to talk about that. I want to ask about that too.
Going up the steps for sure. But I don't think I did any battles at all. I don't think I felt like it was super slow, really. I now that you say that, like just against like, lesser enemies that you're just kind of mowing through, especially if you're farming for experience or items or something, I could definitely see turning it on. But I never felt that. I never felt the need to of like, oh, this is taking forever. I did it more just like walking around, like you're somewhere and you have to get back to another place that's far away, like something like that.
All right, well, I do want to get into the plot here. I have like I have like clips. I have like the cutscenes, different cutscenes from the video pulled up. The YouTube clip that I'm using has like the guy named all the names differently. So as we're going through, I think Jonathan is Cloud, Sam is
Oh,
Barrett,
geez.
and
Why would he
Destiny
do
is
that?
Tifa.
Like, why would he do that?
Rookie,
It's so
rookie
dumb.
mistake.
Yeah,
Rookie
yeah.
mistake.
Jonathan.
First time player.
But well, that'll be done in the end. But I have some earmarked places, and this like has a lot of the cutscenes. So if you guys want to pull something up or remember something you want to talk about, just let me know, and I'll try to find it real quick as you guys are chatting. But I was just hoping I did because the opening, even the opening, just straight from the opening, I thought I really it gave me a little bit of a goosebumps kind of. You guys see
Hell
this?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you guys hear that?
No.
I'll say that.
Who can start sharing when someone is sharing? Who can share?
Hold on a second here.
I think you have to like allow the audio like in the share screen.
Here, let me do something here.
Yeah, you click on share screen, and then the bottom left there's share sound. There's a little button.
Oh, this is weird.
You see this now?
Yeah, it's full screen now. That's nice.
What is it?
It
It's
was
full
not
screen.
full screen before. It was just like, you know, up the center. And now it's full screen.
But you guys still can't hear anything, right? Doesn't have
No.
anything. But do you see the video though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Share sound. Okay. I got it.
Sweet.
We're just 2 months into we're just 2 years in the pandemic, and I still haven't figured this out. Give me a second.
This whole time, like every virtual visit you've had, like your patients didn't hear you, and
Yeah.
they're just like, hi, yes, yes.
Second. I don't know why this is it's not playing sound. Yeah, it did share sound.
Yeah, we hear it.
Got it. You guys are hearing it though, right?
Yeah.
At the time, it still holds up. I agree. Like the cutscene at the time, like cutscene graphics for PlayStation. I want to talk about that too. I want to talk about that too. I actually really love the way the graphics are for this game, where they have like the static background and like the characters moving on top.
Start with like an action sequence.
Yeah.
It's like
Let's pump out here. Honestly, you guys were talking about character development in the game. And Cloud has to just do like a backflip off the frame. Really necessary. Oh, so the game. I'll stop sharing that. You guys heard that, right? Because I didn't hear anything of that.
Yeah,
Oh, you didn't?
yeah, you
I
heard it.
That's well. Anyways, so I'm not going to spend too much time on the plot unless you guys are like not remembering things or have any questions about things. But the game starts off. You're like you're with Barrett. You're with the rest of this group called Avalanche. And what you're trying to do is destroy one of the reactors. Barrett goes quickly and explains that like, this company Shinra is like taking energy from the world, and what you're there is part of a group called Avalanche, trying to destroy this reactor to kind of get back at Shinra, right? So you guys go through this map, and again, like you fight people along the way. That the actual the actual map is very similar to the other maps that like you find in other reactors too. But it's still, I don't know, I still like that. I don't think it attracted anything for me, but you go through, you blow the first reactor. As you're like leaving that reactor, you meet Tifa, or you meet Eris for the first time, right?
Fall down through the roof of the church.
Well, that's actually later on. You actually meet her like leaving, just like leaving the.
She's like selling
like
flowers on the street. I forgot.
She's like giving flowers out there. I want to ask about that. Like, did anyone actually do? I mean, do you guys remember that where you guys meet her? She like asks to like sell you a flower for like a gil or not. Again, this is, I wasn't using like the walkthrough, so I don't know of the different like options that are like available for people, but I think like from what I've read, there's like, they've really mapped out like what, if you want to max like your relationship with someone else or other people,
right,
like which options to choose. Have any of you guys actually looked into that? Because I have not. I'm not.
I saw it on that guide, but I was like, oof.
Yeah,
I just like get so much.
That guide, again, I appreciate that someone did that, but it like makes me worried for whoever that is.
It's very detailed. That dude is hardcore. I wasn't looking at that when I was going through the campaign, although of course I was going to get that flower from Eris.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have options where you can be like mean to the other character, and like I couldn't do that back then, and I still can't do it now. So I'm not going down that other tree where you're like mean to Eris. Like,
no,
yeah, somebody did, I guess.
No way.
As far as like right off the bat, like they really, I mean, that's a key point where they do this with Cloud. Cloud kind of sucks. Like,
he's kind of a dick. Yeah,
he like always has an option to be like a dick. Like if you want him to be a dick, completely out of nowhere, like completely unnecessary. Like, I think that probably pushed people probably to use the same kind of choices like over and over again.
Yeah, he's kind of like a teenager in that way, but like he does the right thing still, like, when it comes to like the big choices in the game, like, he's like doesn't talk about his feelings much, but he's still like trying to do the right thing.
I mean, early on, he often does the right thing for the wrong reason. Like he's like a mercenary, and he's like helping Avalanche because they're paying him, and he just keeps asking about his money, and like, he doesn't really care. I think eventually he like his relationship with Eris, he's like sort of like, oh shit, you're right. And Barrett too is like, yeah, the planet is getting fucked by these guys. Maybe we should, but I feel like just certainly for the first part of the game, he's just kind of like.
How do you guys feel about Barrett? I think like I never like, again.
Mr. T,
Mr. T.
Like, is he like a Japanese stereotype of
he's
black people from the 70s or something?
Totally.
Like,
and also, I think he's awesome.
No, he's also awesome as well. So like, I think it's done well. I mean, in a way.
It's such a stereotype, but he is like also one of my favorite characters.
He is
fucking
so
awesome.
awesome.
When I think of this game, I think of like I probably think of Barrett, like pops in my head a lot. Well, let's be honest, Tifa.
Let's get that out of the way.
But Barrett is also one of my favorite characters in the song. But he is
For
he is
sure. For sure. He's so
very-
passionate.
so passionate.
So passionate.
Yeah.
I mean, a gun for an arm is cool as shit, first
Yeah.
of all.
Yeah.
But he also, like, I agree, Asmat, like, he stands for something. It means something to him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he's like willing to put his shit on the line. And he's also a father. I love that he has
Yeah.
he's a single father.
Yeah.
He loves his daughter. I fucking love that.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
piggyback on what William's saying because it actually speaks into the next part of the plot line here. So they blow up Sector 1. Eris is introduced. He's leaving from seeing Eris, and he's like surrounded by Shinra people, and he like narrowly escapes by jumping back on the train, back off this bridge onto a train. And so in the train, all the rest of Avalanche are already in there, and he gets to meet up with them, and they kind of start chatting. And Barrett kind of goes into a diatribe about kind of setting up the game and why it is that Avalanche does this, right? And he goes on about how like the poor have no options, and Shinra pretty much owns like everything, and Avalanche is like trying to fight back against this like corruption and the have-nots or whatever. And like I don't know, I think it's a theme that kind of runs through this through the game a lot. I don't know, Cam, you brought up like pollution or global warming and all this sort of stuff as being option. But do you guys feel like how do you guys feel like those kinds of, do you think it's like shoved down your throat, or do you think it was done well, like in terms of how they present these sorts of themes?
I mean, Barrett is Antifa, right? Like, like nowadays, that's what I think.
Yeah.
Like that is,
Yeah.
he is the extremist arm of the leftists. But I think like I didn't find it, and I think maybe it depends on. I think I've read out there like plenty of people think it was too much on the nose and in your face, but I think when I was playing through it, even as a kid, I didn't notice it enough, and I think that tells, at least for me, that means it wasn't so in my face that I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Planet's dying. Let's move on. So I thought there was a nice balance. And it also seemed heavier in the beginning than it did like throughout the rest of the story too.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think it needs to be subtle. Like, to me, like, I'm not really looking for, I think in the context of the types of storytelling that happens regularly on TV today, things are so complex. You can never have like a person who's just like bad and they're just evil, and there's good guys and they just fight each other. It's like everybody has to be complicated and driven by different agendas. This is like a video game that is, it's gonna be black and white at times, and it's going to be, even though they do introduce some complexity at times with some of the characters, but I think it's like I'm not looking for, when I'm engaging with this kind of video game, especially from the 90s,
yeah.
I'm not really looking for a whole bunch of subtlety personally. Like, it doesn't bother me,
I think the game is also like what's interesting about it is it's like going into that like good and bad thing. It's also, it doesn't feel hold back from being like cute and like fun and goofy and like silly at the same time, and like just like silly moments or dumb things that like random characters say, and the fact that everything is like kind of cartoonish too. So you got like that contrast between like the seriousness of it, but like little silly goofy jokes thrown out, and that kind of like makes it easier and lighter and like fun. Whereas like maybe a modern Final Fantasy is like, because they can render everything like perfectly, everything is like, look how great and awesome this is. But like this game is like also just like it's just fun, and it's not it doesn't take itself too seriously at the same time.
But I do think like they did it like that whole part was all started off because, again, like you guys were saying, like Cloud is being a jerk and like acting like a child. and Barrett's like chastising him, telling him about like, you know, what this means and how this means. And you know, talking about these sorts of like higher level things through this like chastising of child. So I don't know. I thought it was pretty well done. I didn't really have too much. I definitely did it on 3x. That was part that was on
Just
on
like
3x,
farting through
for
like
sure.
bullshit.
So they go on the train. They show you like how to use this, like the map system on this train. I don't really,
I could not read that map.
I couldn't read
like,
it. I could honestly couldn't have done.
There was no
should have
point to
done
that
without
even.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
I feel like why do we have to like?
Why do
learn
we have
that?
to do that? Yeah, I totally agree.
I think it's just like orienting you to the system of like plates and shit in
I guess,
Midgard.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you like know you so that later you understand like the stakes of what is going to happen.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. I wonder if like it's because of, at least for me, what didn't make sense to me about that map was because of the modern games I play now and how integral a map is to it.
Yeah.
And so I'm used to like, if you show me a map,
Yeah,
I got to
need
remember that
I
map.
gotta remember that map.
Yeah.
And it's gonna come
This-
back. I'm gonna use it.
Yeah.
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 Map
And that
hack.
one, I'm sure at the time I played it when I was younger, I was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's sweet. And then I move on.
Yeah.
But they got off the train and they were going to the Tifa's bar. Tifa's bar.
Heaven.
Heaven something. I can
It is.
Seventh
Yeah,
heaven.
it is.
But
It's
they,
seventh.
It's like
the
the-
headquarters for Avalanche, basically.
exactly. It's like the headquarters for Avalanche, right? And like they get there, Barrett goes into the bar, and all you hear is shooting in the bar, shooting in the bar everywhere, and then people like running out of the bar, and he's like, "All right, we got the place." Freaking nuts.
That's so good.
It's crazy, absolutely crazy.
What the
With
fuck,
a-
Barrett?
With a child in that building.
There's a
right?
child in there. His child is in there, and she's watching him just
like,
shooting up the
yeah.
place.
And I don't recall
What's that
Tifa. I don't recall Tifa being like, "What the hell?" Like,
What the
nope,
hell?
I'm not going to have any customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Someone's
you
got to
shooting
pay
this
for those
bar up.
repairs.
Yeah.
God.
This is a wooden building.
But then we are introduced to Tifa, and there's like immediately some back and forth between
Yeah.
Tifa and Cloud, and you can get the sense of that there's something here between the
history.
two of them.
Hot.
We have to talk about Tifa for a little bit. The character is completely again like a very 90s female character in terms of how they rendered her and how they like draw her in her animations. Every single time she ends up a fight, she just like spreads her heart out and sticks
Just
her
stretches
tongue out.
out. Yeah.
For a 14-year-old boy, though, that's where it's at.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is, I think a lot of themes like in this game are probably were in Japanese anime for a long time, like throughout the 80s. And this was probably, in a Western audience, our first exposure to, the evil corporation, the giant mechs and the Tifa type, figures and stuff like that. So, part of it is like also that this was like the first time I like played like a real Japanese game and like got all this cool Japanese stuff out of it,
Yeah.
which included what they're doing with Tifa, which was,
Doing all sorts
which
of
is-
stuff with Tifa.
yeah, 10 out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah. 10 out of 10.
And I mean, look, I think that's very well said, Usman, because Japanese aesthetic is just very different. And now, I've watched so many animes and consumed so much of this that's like just like sort of a reference point for me. But I think at the time, I don't know if do you think that this game came out before like the Mech Warriors games, like where you would get into like a mech suit and fight with other, do you know what I'm talking about, guys?
Around the same time, maybe afterwards, actually.
I'm not sure at all.
I wonder if I had exposure to that kind of stuff before I played this game, but anyway, all of these references are I think part of the like just the cool aesthetic and atmosphere of the game, that it's like this steampunk like sort of part advanced technology sort of or at least technology, computers and stuff, but also not like, it's also like at the same time sort of old fashioned, like at times, chocobo racing and stuff, like
Yeah, like the magic and the sci-fi and
the
the magic. So
technology,
yeah,
all of it together. Like I just like that aesthetic is something I never really saw before.
Through that conversation with Tifa, some like important things are kind of brought up. First, like you get the idea that Cloud joined Soldier, and like they kind of talk about this like Soldier group. It's supposed to be like an elite like fighting group, and that he like left. You get the sense that like there's something between, she like makes some promise, or they like promise that he's going to come back and save her, and that's like something
So
he alludes
cute.
to, which again,
Love
like
it.
you mentioned, like at the time, like my idea of romance and love, and like as like a tiny, like as a young kid, like I think about like that's like the hero, like the heroic type thing I think about at the time. Was kind of important for me. But they mentioned that, and they also mentioned Sephiroth there as well. That like he was going to be leaving to be follow Sephiroth, and they kind of talk about. I think it's one of the first times in the game they kind of talk about. They don't really mention too much about that though. Some other important people, yeah, you guys mentioned Barrett's daughter that they introduced there at the bar. And you talk a little bit more with like the other groups of Avalanche, but there's not much else. Did you guys spend much time talking to people like in that area?
I did, but you don't really get a lot from them.
Yeah.
They don't
I
say too
talked to
much.
100% of the people that you can talk to.
I know you would. I didn't get too much else from there. I do appreciate though that like your conversations with them are like very short. It's usually like one word. Like in newer games, like that's always like a 5-minute thing, and you're like, I got nothing from it. Like that's nothing. That was nothing important.
Yeah, they make it clear if somebody has anything to offer you or not. Like
Right away.
immediately. Yeah.
Right away. I will say the coolest thing about that whole scene for me though, and like, was the pinball machine. Just like I envied that so much, and was like, someday I'm gonna have a house, and I'm gonna have a secret room.
Yeah,
it's under a pinball machine. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
My God,
really cool.
It's so
that
good.
is cool as shit. Yeah.
So you end up leaving that bar, and you're like, they try to like convince you to join Avalanche over and over again. And Cloud's being Cloud, and like saying he will do it, but if he has a lot of money or whatever. But they have this kind of altercation. They get on the train to go back for another to fight another sector. Which, by the way, like I feel like this game, like for what they're doing, they're like quickly moving through this stuff very early on in this game, blowing things up like all over the place. And you don't really, I don't know, were people, I think you might speak this more than me, because I don't know if I talked to everybody. Do you remember if the other people like that you meet in the town were talking about like, oh shit, like the reactor got blown up? Or I'm sure they probably were.
There is some of that, right?
Yep. Yeah, there's a little bit.
Actually, can I ask you, this part that I don't know if you guys remember this specific thing in the game where, and I think it's the reason I bring it up because I think it's right before they go for this second reactor. There is a guy who's like in he's like in the slums, like you can go into like a tube or something.
Yeah, and he's throwing up. He's like sick.
Yeah, he's like sick from like mako or energy or something.
I didn't crack that. Yeah.
So I don't know. I was going to ask you that too, because he actually comes in later. He comes in.
Yeah, I think it's a setup for later.
But there's a guy in this scene that was called Johnny, I think. Johnny's going to go to Soldier, and I couldn't piece together if it was the same guy. I'll go back and take a look at that if anyone figures that out.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I just wanted to mention it because I think that there are a lot of, and the world is huge. You may not access all of the little Easter eggs and all the little things in a playthrough without a guide. but like that was one that is like easy to run into. It's kind of hard to miss. And I
Easy
just
to
remember
follow.
thinking like, it's so cool that there's these little like breadcrumbs,
Mhm.
like the thought that goes into this of just like putting in this little teaser that clearly will come up later or have some kind of relevance later, or at least speaks to some kind of mystery or plot that's going on in the background. I thought that's kind of stuff to me. I love that stuff.
That was like I think in that same neighborhood, the one that tripped me up was I think like just across from that pipe, you go up 3 stories in this building. And I think there's like a kid at the top.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I talked to that kid and I was like, I can't figure out what I'm supposed to do with this, like at all.
Yeah.
And it seemed like there would be something important, but
There is something with that.
There
Yeah,
is.
there is.
and
If you go
yeah.
back, see him, and
Oh,
like,
shoot.
yeah. I mean, did you take his money? You took his money, didn't you?
No. Oh, he was the
Yeah,
one
he
where
took his money.
well, no, is that the same one where that said you could like rent his bed
Oh.
or something?
I think it is the same kid.
The same. All I know is I didn't pay for him. I was like, 10 gil, come on. In this?
You're not gonna part with 10 gil.
No,
Like,
man.
10 gil?
You never know when you're gonna need
Too
that.
steep.
Gotta save every gil.
Your
But
rates
yeah,
are-
it is the thing. What is it? It's like if you don't take his money, if you pay him or whatever, if you don't betray his trust or what, it's something that you can do with him. I don't remember.
Yeah.
So anyways, we finished with Tifa. Tifa actually joins your group, and you go on this next mission to fight this reactor on the train there. And like they make a big tell, they were talking about how, I think in the first one, about how it is that they go about skipping, because there's like check stations throughout the train ride, and they know when the next one's going to be, so they're like golden. But halfway like through one, alarms go off and you have to like run to a certain part of the train before like a time runs out. So you end up kind of getting off the train a lot earlier than what you thought you would be. You have to wind your way through these sewers before you get to the next sector, which is sector 5. You go through and there's a flashback as Cloud is placing the bomb, which it brings you to this other, I kind of want to show you guys this because I feel like this was out of place for me and I didn't really get it. I didn't get it at the time.
There was a lot of weird stuff, yeah.
The playable flashbacks to me are so awesome. Like I'm like, this is such good storytelling. I fucking love that shit.
Let me try to show you guys what I'm talking about. But they go and place this. Here it is. I'm gonna share this with you guys again because this is gonna go straight into the next one anyway.
It like flashes back like to an old timey version of a factory or a power plant or something.
You guys see that? Hear and see that?
Yep.
Again, her name's gonna be Destiny. So he's like wigging out, and they're all like, "What the fuck, man?"
That
Sam is there.
Oh, okay. That's
those
Tifa.
gaps eventually are filled in.
Yeah. He's eventually thinking, but this time you're like, "Stop, get a hold of yourself, stop doing it." But he puts the bomb down. I'm gonna leave this up here because the next one's important too. He puts the bomb down, and they're running away. And then they realize that it's like a trap. It's like a trap. And the president of Shima ends up coming out and like giving this little thing about how they've been like capturing them and they're this is the first time you get to meet the president of Shima.
This is shit.
This will be shit here. as the next stage. So you go through, you end up fighting this guy. Did you guys have any difficulties with the bosses? Because I'm gonna be honest, some of these guys were a little difficult. This guy wasn't that hard for me, but some of the later ones on were difficult. That boss ends up blowing up, and then Cloud is left here dangling. And then there's comes some back and forth, and we finally.
Falling through the church and falling into that bed of flowers is like so iconic to me. It's like we'll remember that shot right there as he's falling.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stop sharing this. So he falls down, and where does he fall? But right into Eris's. Trying to stop sharing this thing.
Right into her lap.
Right into your lap, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. I
No
know,
one would survive that fall, right? No one. That fall was so far.
I would.
Cloud,
Okay.
this isn't anyone, Cam. This is Cloud.
Yeah. This is roofs don't break
Motherfucking
people's
cloud.
falls.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Luke Skywalker, you know, when he falls, it's like, yeah, he goes down a tube and he like ends up in some trash. I don't know.
Yeah.
He
You
just
know?
like falls directly into that tube, and it's not even big. It's like a little tube. He's like, whoop.
He falls into that tube. They have like a back and forth where like they talk about I don't even know what they talk about. Actually, she has like they go out and they talk about honestly I can't remember. I think they talk about how she had a boyfriend that was in Soldier too.
Is it that scene? Yeah, I think you're right.
Either way, they get like other other Shinra agents end up coming and like shooing them away. They're like running away. And this is that barrel scene. I keep hearing and reading stuff about this barrel scene, how there's like a correct way to do that to make Tifa like you more, or like, but honestly, I completely messed that scene up. I kept telling her to run and I never hit. Were you guys able to hit anybody with the barrels at all? Or?
I wasn't.
I hit one person. It was like the last one, and I figured out what I was supposed to be doing. It was like, oh, whoops.
I used the guide on that, and I did it flawlessly.
Yeah, there's.
I wonder why.
There's no way as a kid I would have done that correctly. That was just like.
That's the kind of stuff on this second playthrough that I was like, I'm gonna get this kind of stuff right. You know, I'm gonna do this.
This time around, I'm gonna do it the right way.
I'm gonna do it this time. I'm gonna do it.
Because it is completely like illogical. You would never. There's a lot of stuff like that where it's like, you know, there's a thing hidden in a place where like you absolutely would never look unless you knew it was there. You know.
I feel like that's how games were. They used to be though. It's like, you know, it wasn't just like a thing of figuring it out. It was like, how much are you gonna play this game? Are you gonna play this game enough to like accidentally do something and figure out something is like there, and then like that opens up a whole new thing, or are you just gonna like miss that, or are you gonna hear it like on the playground that someone did that and then you can like do it yourself, you know?
That's
what it is.
Part of what it like made it more meaningful was that you know it had like a you could fail and screw up and like things were kind of awkward about it too, you know. It wasn't like I feel like modern games are like they guide you, you know, so you won't be disappointed in a way.
So you end up running away from these people. You guys go back to Eris's house.
Wait, real quick.
Eris's
What's the guy's name? Rufus? Who's the bad guy?
Rufus and Turk?
Domino?
No, so that wasn't Rufus. That was Reno. Reno.
Reno.
Reno was the guy that
Turks.
trying to fight you there.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
You go back to Eris's house. You meet Eris's mom, Elmira. They like have you stay there the night. You try to escape in the middle of the night, and there's this like floorboard scene where you try to get out of the house. That honestly probably took me longer than any part of this entire game. This part of the game, I could not figure that out. And Isaiah was like over my shoulder, like messing with me the entire time I was trying to do this. I was getting so angry at him because he would be like, you messed it up again. I'm like, I know I messed it up. I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. Like, leave me alone. It took me
Man.
so long.
I tried doing it. I think at that point in the game, I was still on 3x speed.
Yeah.
You
No,
cannot do that
no,
scene
no,
on 3x.
No.
It's just like, it was like 19, 20 times before I was like, all right, I gotta turn the speed
You gotta
off
turn this
because
down.
I don't know what's happening. Also, I want
This
to
is
take a
in fact
moment.
taking me longer.
The whole Turks thing, like, was the first time when I was in, I think I played this, I don't know,
Oh,
8th grade
yeah.
or something. Like my dad's from Turkey, and I was like, the Turks, and I was like, why are they the bad guys in this?
Yeah, you know, it's
Oh
so
my
funny,
gosh.
Cam, that you mentioned that, because I don't think, even like to this day, literally, I don't think I've ever thought of associated that with like Turkey, the country.
Well,
Like,
and I
I think
don't-
that's just like, that's what they're called.
Yeah, I don't
But
even think it,
obviously, sure, like, I mean,
but like it couldn't have been. But I like wonder. It's something I want to read about. Like, why did they choose Turks?
Yeah.
And especially when it's in this like fictional world, right?
Yeah.
Like who?
Yeah.
If they
I-
like who came up with Turks?
Definitely made
Like,
that
it's
connection.
like Young Turks is like a term for something. Like
Terrible
you see it.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the worst.
I made that connection early on, and I've stayed away from Turkish people my entire life.
Yeah, that's where we get the bad
I'm
rap.
like, what, you
All-
want me to hang out with some Turks? No, thank
no,
you.
thank you.
No, I mean they
That's-
are kind of cool though. They're snappy dressers.
Yeah,
they
do
are
look
can
really
fight.
good.
They're organized.
They are
You
cool.
know, so there's
like
a lot of
Salt Bae.
positives too. They're
like
evil,
Salt Bae.
but
Yeah, they may be evil, but they got some good stuff
they,
going.
they got some style.
Reno's
So-
wearing his suit all loose.
Yeah, looks good. Looks good. So they leave together because you escape, but she's like right there and sees you like leaving. You leave together, and as you're like leaving to go back to meet up with the other groups, the other three of Barrett and Tifa, you see Tifa in like a chocobo cart being like sped away to the next section, which is the wall market, which to me was like on the replay, the wildest part of this whole thing. I did completely have forgotten about this part.
Wall market is
game.
nuts.
And I don't know what, I think like, again, like for me, probably back then I was like, I just didn't like think too much of it because I was like 14 and was like, I don't understand what's going on, I guess. But it's just a wild section of the game.
Yeah.
You guys remember this part here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, like you go and you go to this like slumlord brothel house, right? And you learn that Tifa is there as one of three
Independently.
Yeah, independently. She's trying to like go there undercover, trying to figure out more information on Shinra through the slumlord there guy who is like is in association with Shinra or is an arm of Shinra. And so you go there and you realize that she's trying to post up as one of three girls that he gets to select from, I guess, to have sex with. Like
God,
that's
dude.
what they're like intimating.
There's
with.
like a little dungeon, like a BDSM
Yes.
dungeon
This is
in
like
his house
Again,
as
like,
well, which I didn't get.
I would have completely missed that when I was a kid. It would have just,
Absolutely.
but she is for sure in like some sort of dungeon scenario down there. And so the rest of this little bit of the wall market is you trying to dress Cloud up because the plot is for you to try to dress up as a woman to present yourself as one of the options for this day. So
It's kind of a fun part of the game actually, because it's
I
like
do think it's fun.
yeah. It's like, you know, going around like solving all the puzzles and like it's hard. It is kind of hard figuring it out, but it's also really satisfying and like, you know, it's just like a fun little place.
This is the kind of stuff that I love about this game, and as you mentioned before, this kind of aesthetic where it's like you'll just have this like complete, like it's an entire like chapter of the game where there's no fighting. It's not like, it's just like all of the dialogue and like you say, the puzzles, and like the whole goal is so like off the wall
Yeah.
and kooky. Like the whole thing is
Kooky
crazy.
is, yeah, that's a good way to say it.
You got to find like the perfume or what, like it's all the
Yeah.
things to like make yourself like as hot as you can get to be able
Yeah,
to get into
and
this
like
place.
I was like really motivated this time. I was like, I'm gonna
gonna
be the one he picks.
I'm gonna be so hot.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be the belle of the ball.
yeah,
It's gonna be me.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's one of those parts of the game though that I think I played it through the first time and didn't think anything of it, but then when I saw the guide that Will sent over and all the different combinations of shit you can do to get the right costume,
Mhm.
I just like was like, no, no,
It's
Not
crazy.
way
good.
too many things. And
Not
if
gonna
that
do it.
person like mapped it out, they're like, oh, it's a lot to
So-
get like the like very small, because I think it's a very small chance to get Cloud picked, I think is what it is.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Who did you guys have picked on your guys' run through?
I got Cloud picked.
Cloud,
You did?
obviously
Yeah.
Cloud.
Whoa!
Yeah,
big,
yeah,
big
for sure.
And you looked
balls.
at did you look at the walkthrough or you did it yourself?
I think I did it. I think I did it myself, except for like picking the right dress.
Hmm.
I had to look
Nice.
that
That's
up.
impressive, I think.
There's no way to, there's no way to know. You have no way to know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's-
I was using the guide for like this whole section.
Did you guys do the squats to get the wig?
Oh
Yeah.
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 You
I
gotta feed
screwed
the
that up.
guys
That
in
was
the-
also on 3x speed, and I was like, nope. that
no,
screwed
impossible
it
to
up
do on
real
3x.
bad.
That actually is a little bit challenging to beat the
I did
guy.
it. I did it really easy.
Yeah.
I would just say I think they handled him dressing up as a woman. I was just waiting for there to be some sort of like really off the cuff like 90s joke
Yeah.
about cross dressing or transvestites or something like this. But it was actually handled pretty well.
It was
Everyone
like really
"You look
supportive.
really
Of
cute.
his
You
like,
look
oh
really
yeah,
good."
you know, if you're into this, that's cool. I mean,
Exactly.
we're fine with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that. And then like there was one customer that was like in the shop that was like rude, and everyone we were just like, ah, that person sucks. I look good.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm looking good.
Yeah.
I think I
I
had
thought-
Tifa on mine was just sorry, what were you saying, Wayne?
That section is like, I guess maybe one of the first times where Tifa and Eris are interacting
Yeah.
together quite a bit, and I
Yeah, it was the
actually
first
really enjoy their relationship. It's like
Mhm.
they're sort of rivals, but also they're like really nice to each other too, and they're like, I think it's like a fun line they walk with that.
Yeah.
They're honestly they do legitimately like our friends too. I
Yeah.
think they could have played it like totally differently, but they actually like try to make something there, which I think adds to it.
Yeah.
I was just sad that we like there's no way to get into the brothel, you know, like that's where I wanted to go when I was a kid.
You can go when you go upstairs, and they are like, go upstairs and go into the guy's room when you get picked. You can, instead of going into his room, go to some of the other doors, and it doesn't let you go in, but you can like listen in, if I recall. Can anyone verify this for me?
You were
You
just
can
sitting
go
there
listen
listening,
to the
William.
doors,
Like,
and
oh,
you hear
yeah.
like sex
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
happening in there.
That's
Yeah.
good.
That's not a bad option, but like the actual club, like in the front of the wall market where you're trying to go in, is that the same? Is it connected? I don't know. It was connected or
No,
not.
I think like the actual brothel place that he was like way in. Wait, no.
That's where
I
those
think I know
three
what you're talking
guys are
about.
sitting. They're sitting on the stairs, and when
Yeah,
you try to go
yeah.
in, they're like,
They try to
nah.
block you.
Yeah,
can't
but
go
you
in there.
can go in there. You can.
Oh, you can go in there.
Yeah, you
Okay,
just have to like, you can't go in there right then. You have to like, there's something that you have to complete before go. I think in
Yeah,
fact
no.
I'm pretty sure you can go in there.
I can't remember.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll
You got to
definitely
go back
try
to the
it.
gym and you
go
go back
back.
to the gym and do a couple tugs.
Mhm,
That's how you really
mhm.
got to prove
Mhm.
yourself to get into
Yeah.
that brothel.
You need some kind of like pass or something. I can't
different
remember,
squats.
but yeah.
That's
The
cool.
squats.
So you go, oh yeah, Eris also changes into a sexier dress too. So there's that. You go and you think you're like, you end up, again, I had Tifa, so this was like my experience. Tifa was like in the room, they were like showing what was going on there, but then you're cut to your screen where you and Eris are like people like are coming at you like zombies, like trying to grab you. Did you guys have this too? Like coming
I
at
didn't
you,
do
like
that.
No.
trying to grab you, and you're just trying to like run
Oh,
away
yeah.
from them.
Yeah.
Anyways, you break out from there, go up over to TV. All three of you there. You think you got this guy, but then he ends up pulling a switch, and you fall down into some sewers.
What was that guy's
Classic.
name again?
Don.
Don.
Good Don Corneo or
Yeah,
something.
Don.
Yeah.
Don Blurry.
Yeah.
I kind of want, if it's okay, can we take like a second to go to the bathroom and have some? I can refresh my drink and we come back.
Yeah,
We're
I need to
almost
refresh my
yeah.
drink.
almost done with
Sounds
the
good.
plot. But I'd like to go pee pee.
All right, see
Go.
you guys in a second.
Oh man, my
All right,
ad,
guys.
my ad
Serious-
wasn't on the recording.
You're what?
You did an ad?
I did an ad while you guys were gone, just
I
in
heard
case.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking about Allbirds and how they
You're
feel
just
like
trying to get
clouds
some
on
free
your feet.
Allbirds, dude. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
no,
You're
I
trying
don't
to
need
get
any
some
more
free
Allbirds. I have like 9 pair. I don't. Even if they were like, here's a free one, I'd be like, I can't.
Yeah, like even if it, like, 'cause I got like 9 pairs. Even if I wanted one that's a comfortable solution for transportation
Yeah.
with ready-made
free.
soles of rubber and synthetic materials, wouldn't take it for $1 million.
Wouldn't
So it was
take
an ad for your OnlyFans or what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Only cams.
Only
Oh,
cams.
yeah. Now that's an idea. Now there's
Now
an
we're
idea.
talking.
You can
I'm gonna,
sell
if I ever
watches
have an
on there.
OnlyFans,
You
I
only
will
wear
name it
the only wear
cams.
Usman's watches. That's
Just,
all you're wearing.
just a Swan's watch, yeah.
Yeah, you can put it on your arms and on your.
In
your-
all
You
different
can put
places.
it anywhere, man.
All,
Yeah,
yeah,
you can put these
all different places of my
Yeah.
body.
anywhere.
Need an extra long strap. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Oh.
All right, so the last place we left off was where did we leave off?
Wall
Where
We fell
market,
down in
they
the
go-
sewer.
Yeah, they go down to
fell
the
down at the
sewers.
they pull the thing, falls down in the sewer. Exactly.
Mhm.
So he falls down the sewer. There's like a scene where you're fighting through the sewer. You come out of the sewer and you're like in sector 7. And in sector 7, you like are come out to this scene, and I do want to kind of show this portion of here. 'Cause
Hey,
it was-
I don't know if anybody else is having this issue. I feel like when the cutscenes are playing, even though the music is awesome, I would almost prefer to mute it because I have a hard time hearing other people talking.
Yeah, it's really loud.
should I just turn the volume down?
Is there a way to do that? Yeah, if you could do that, that would be
Yeah, I'll
ideal.
do that.
I'm half
Because
deaf,
I'm hearing it.
so-
I can sort of hear what other people are saying, but it's like, and the music is, it's not like you have like people talking or whatever. Like we can see the audio on the
Yeah.
or the text on the screen.
Didn't I hear there's only one cutscene that has audio in it in the game, like actual recorded audio?
What do you mean?
Like, because I think all of it's like MIDI music, right? But there's like
Oh, I see what you're saying.
there's
I
like
didn't know that.
one part where there's an actual like song, not song, but audio.
I don't know that.
Me neither.
Is it? But not that we haven't seen it yet.
No, we'll get there. But
Oh, you're teasing that in there.
just
I
a
like
little
that. This
teaser.
is good.
Yeah,
Good
this is
podcast
teaser.
stuff.
A little Easter egg there. Find that one recorded audio,
Yeah,
and you'll
Yeah.
get a pair of brand new Allbirds.
there you go.
Lightly used.
Lightly used.
The
Gently
scene
used.
before this that I'm showing you, the president is like in his office and he's talking about like what they're gonna do to kind of like get back at these guys, and they're talking about destroying the Sector 7 plate. So
Yeah. So
what-
the plan is insane.
the plan's insane. It's absolutely insane. It's absolutely
It's
insane.
so fucked up.
Is that better in terms of volume?
No.
Yeah.
Works.
That's great.
The battle music is so fucking good. Can you full screen this, Hugo?
Oh yeah.
Barrett's up there.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Just
Oh,
going
this
to
is so
town.
fucking epic.
And this is wild. Look at when the avalanche just drops. Ah,
Oh my god.
crazy.
Biggs? Is it Biggs?
Yeah.
Uh, It's Jonathan.
Wedge.
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 Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing here. I didn't really get to know, I don't know these guys' names too much. I know there's Jesse, but I don't know any of the other ones, Biggs or anything like that. Or Wedge, I guess it was, but you get there, Wedge falls from the top of this thing, and you like have a moment talking to him. You climb up and you see like all the members of Avalanche are just on this thing all messed up. You finally get up to the top, Barrett's up there battling us for his life, and you kind of join in. And during the fight, you realize that there's like a bomb that's being set to, that's gonna blow up this plate support. And so that's what Barrett's doing there, fighting and battling. You like are trying to help stop this from happening. A helicopter comes in with I think was it Reno that was on there? I think it might have been Reno that was on there. And I think actually you have a boss battle with Reno here.
Yeah, you fight with him. Yeah.
You fight with Reno here too. But they end up escaping. And as they're escaping, you realize they have Eris with them. You have Eris is with them. And Barrett's like, no, I gotta let you go. And so they flee away. And I do want to, I keep sure this cussing, but that actually is, this is another good one. As they're like the whole place is decimated, and the plate kind of falls.
Reno's slick. That's one of those fights where like you just have to get him to like 50% or 25% or whatever, and then he just jumps on the helicopter and escapes, and you're like, I would have killed this guy. Oh, this guy, yeah.
Takes off with Eris. So this is cable that's right here. That's how you end up being able to just.
That's right. You just swing on that, you're good.
Let's get out of here. Everyone's on Barrett.
Hey, get on the cable. This one's totally gonna work. It's fine. It's not like this is connected to anything that's gonna actually come down.
Yeah. Don't worry about the wall that's in front of us either.
It's a whole part of the town that's just destroyed. Look at this guy.
Countless people.
How many people died?
Countless people murdered. Unreal.
So do those, whatever. The playground.
Absolutely destroyed.
Just swing right through.
This is another one of those like moments that I don't think I really, in the Shinra President, got on over this. I really didn't like understand the gravity of this when I was like younger, because it doesn't really really hit my head. But this is like, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
It kills like everybody in a part of the town.
Yeah, this is like a mass killing. This is, yeah.
So they're able to escape. Shinra is blaming them, Avalanche, for
Unreal.
that event that happened, and like making them look like they're a terrorist organization, which they kind of are, a terrorist organization.
Yeah.
But the terrorist organization that was responsible for blowing up that part of the town. They like go back to Eris's house to kind of collect themselves and figure out what the hell they're going to do. That's where Elmira, the mother of Eris, starts kind of giving a little bit more of her backstory. So Eris is not her actual daughter. She's apparently like an adopted person, and they start kind of talking about this whole issue with her being maybe a daughter of like one of the ancients, or a daughter of an ancient, right? Start talking a little bit about this. That's a part of the thing that I think, again, I didn't really appreciate this storyline, and I have to really pay attention to this, because I honestly didn't get too much of this when I was little. But you start learning that like there were people a long time ago that kind of developed a lot of the mythology around materia, or like magic that comes from the earth, the kind of things that that Shinra is extracting from the earth. And that there are these ancient lands that have like a never-ending supply of this kind of material that's still that secret's like guarded by the ancients, and that's something that Shinra is like also trying to get. I don't think I got this at all when I was younger, or at least didn't really understand too much of it. You learn a lot of that also as you're going through the next part of the version, because you know, after this visit you decide to go and try to rescue Eris. I don't know, did you guys, was that something you guys understood? Was that something you guys understood like when you were?
Yes.
You did.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I thought it was
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, not like completely in depth, but like,
Sure.
yeah, not like for sure. There's a lot like I'm like enjoying like actually hearing and like piecing together. But the general arc of it, yeah, and it's cool that like it pays off too. Like it's not just like a silly like
No,
a
it's
lot
not.
of like the setup actually pays off. Like in the,
And-
Yes.
yeah,
And it opens up a whole other theme of this kind of storyline, which is like, is progress, is like science like a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Is it like, you know, what is the our, how do we hurt ourselves with like just pushing forward and like trying to, you know, advance at all costs in terms of like scientific advancement? Like,
Yeah.
those are things that I never got from this playthrough
like-
the first time. I was just like more interested in Tifa's boobs,
It is
which are
critical.
great.
They're great.
That's
Great.
It's
science.
critical to live in harmony with the planet.
Yeah.
Like we can have both things if we are wise.
Exactly.
But if we're greedy, then we will destroy our own planet. And the stuff with the ancients, I think you mentioned earlier, Cecil, it's to me, it's like the pacing of the storytelling is very good. When you, I mean, obviously at the first like chunk of the game is going to be pretty like kind of fast paced in terms of some of these major plot points that are happening, because they need to get to a whole bunch of other things. But stuff like this, they're sort of planting seeds with like flashbacks, with like little conversations you have, and it feels appropriately paced to where it's like, oh, there are these ancients, like what's going on with these guys, like what, you know, and you don't really learn the whole story until satisfactorily the game continues, and you know, you go through more with these characters.
And I'm really interested in that, because I honestly like, this is something I'm like, there are certain cutscenes, we're going to go into these cutscenes here in a second, but it was definitely things at the time that I probably was more like Cam. I was probably just like, okay, let's get through this. Like, let's get through these cutscenes. Like, I'm trying to get back into the fighting of people and like killing people. That's what I want to do.
Mhm.
But it is like big plot points of this that I think speak a lot to the characters and like the actual theme of the story. Anyone have anything to add about this time, or should I keep going with the
I
plot?
missed it when I was younger, and I probably missed it
This
now. So
Well, this
if
is
I'm
where
being honest.
well, William is going to tell us of the plot line as we go through and kind of
Yeah.
things that we're missing here. So you learn this
I
about
just love it.
Eris, and you're like, with Tifa, Barrett, and Cloud, you're like, we got to go and go
Yeah.
get her back, right?
Just as an aside, Cam, Barrett and Tifa.
Ah,
It's
ah,
like it was there the whole time.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That wow.
Whoa.
That's genius.
Yeah, I think that's where they got the name.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
That is so good. Very nice.
You have to this was another really frustrating part for me, this battery situation, going up the wall and having to come back down and get this battery. That
yeah.
I actually I'm gonna really try not to look at guides, but that was a part where I was like,
I missed it. Yeah.
I had to come back down and like, I was like, what am I supposed to do here? So I finally found the one guy that you need the battery from. You go up the wall completely, and you're finally at kind of Shinra, the Shinra headquarters. Did anyone go in? Just go like they give you the option to do things secretly or go straight in. Did anyone actually go straight in?
Hell no.
I don't remember. No,
You
I went up the stairs.
You
You
went
went
up
up
the
this because if you did the
Yeah.
stairs, then you did the
Yeah.
the infiltration.
Yep.
I really wish one of you guys had some nuts to go in there.
I mean, that's insane. It's just a bad idea.
If I remember correctly, you just fight in a like lobby level, but then you take
Yeah.
the elevator to go up anyways.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And obviously, the game doesn't set you up for failure. You're capable of winning those fights and going through, and it's faster. But and so in many ways it makes more sense to do it. And yet I was like, no, I can't. I'm not going to make the decision to run straight through the front and like just get into a fight immediately. That's absurd.
Well, I think isn't it? It's two people that suggest the two different things, right? And then it matters.
Barrett, I think Barrett wants
wants
to
to
go
go
into the
in.
front. Yeah.
And then like, is it Tifa that wants to
Tifa,
go
that's
up this?
like, don't be
and so
dumb
it's-
there.
And it's whoever you choose, like you get like favor with them. So it's like that whole
Interesting.
like, yeah.
Another
I
reason
definitely
to go.
whatever
to
Tifa
go with
says,
Tifa.
I'm like, yeah, Tifa, I'll do
Yeah.
that.
Tifa,
Whatever
you're so
you
smart. You're so wise.
say.
So wise, Tifa. So we all went up the stairs. I remember trying to get up the stairs faster than everyone else as like a race. You get nothing, I don't think, but I definitely won. You get finally to the top of the stairs. You go through like a series of floors. The library, I
Right.
think, was probably the most important for
Mhm.
the plot. I think they give you a little bit more information about this whole ancients, or at least a lot of the books are about ancients that you can read about. That was another one. I couldn't.
I looked that up.
I had to
Yeah,
look it
looked that-
up.
Yeah. I thought I'd be smart enough this time, but no, it wasn't.
Yeah, I had to
It
look-
was they counted the letters. Yeah, I mean, I get it.
I figured out that their books were, there was an odd book out.
Yeah,
I figured like, okay, there's one book that doesn't fit, but I couldn't figure out the number before was the number, because that was it, right? Like there was one odd book out from each library, and then you have to count the letter out from that book, or out from the title of that, and that would give you the letter of that of the password, right?
I didn't have enough money either you could bribe that guy and he'd give you like, I got like the first 2 clues from him,
Yeah.
and then I just didn't have enough money.
Because you
Yeah.
paid that kid to stay
Yeah,
at his
that's what I
hotel.
was gonna say.
I just wasted all my money on that damn kid.
You're fucking buying flowers, giving money to kids for beds out there.
Yeah.
Crazy how much money, dude.
That's right. You know, this really surprises me though, because you guys are the ones who solved that escape room shit.
Yeah.
So
Oh my! What are you talking about? We all did it. All 3 of us.
no, but you guys
This
did
is a
the
story
letters.
about fiscal conservatism. That's what this is about.
Yeah.
You save your money.
I remember the part where you're
practice.
like going through vents and like certain parts of the things are getting locked down and you have to
Yeah.
like drop into certain areas.
So that's another floor. There was like, you only get two I think there was a possible, so that was another thing, because you could like, once you got into the stairway, could you just skip all these floors?
No, I
No.
don't think. I think
You
you have
have
to
to go to
start
each
going on the
one.
elevator.
The one you're talking about, you went in and like, you could only open 2 doors. You only had a key card to open up 2
Right.
doors, and you had to
Yeah.
figure out like how to get into there from each one.
Yeah.
And I think there's like an optimal way to do that as well.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, you just have to like decide what stuff you want
Yeah.
that's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You finally get up to the floor. One of the floors with the boardroom. You kind of like are able to go through this bathroom and like overhear the
Mhm.
plot of these kind of board members, where they in the Shinra president, where they don't really care about what's going on
Insane.
about the Sector 7. They're not really planning on rebuilding at all, and that they're trying to find this like last area of the ancients this like Holy Land or whatever that they are looking for, that has all this material that they can extract, and that's like the next phase. Like that's what they're looking to find. You also meet this scientist called Hojo, like he's in this meeting as well,
Fucking Hojo.
who is like talking about some specimen that he has, and talking about Eris as well, and Eris's mother, who's also supposed to be really important. And so you go through. I want to show this one cutscene because honestly, this is something that I'm sure we're gonna kind of get more into as the plot goes forward. But like, I'm kind of like Cam in this one, in that I don't remember much of the storyline when it comes to this other character, Genova. That I don't really know what's going on. But as you go onto the sign, like this floor with this, where Hojo has his lab, you find this like a tiger type character inside this pen, and you also come across this like reactor type thing, and Cloud has like a flashback or a moment where he sees things. That's what I want to show you guys. I'm gonna pull this up.
Red 8, literally my favorite.
Yeah.
Is it red 8 or red 13?
Is it? I think it's 8. Isn't
13,
it
I
X?
thought.
Or no, it is 13. It's X and then 3. Yeah, sorry. Red 13.
Embarrassing. Egg on your face, dude.
It's true. No, I actually on my playthrough, I think I had renamed a couple of characters.
So you changed it from red 13 to red 8?
You didn't.
Yeah, but
That's how you remembered it. So you're like, it's gonna make it 8.
All right, I'm gonna
No,
play
but I can't. I
What
hadn't
is-
seen
also,
the
look at this.
the actual written name out in a while.
Look at Tifa in this.
Oh,
that-
I remember pausing it here when I was
What
a
do you
kid.
think?
I paused it
Honestly,
here.
again, like, and the times just change, right? Like, as a 14-year-old, I like, this was an awakening. This game was
Big
an
time.
awakening. I was like, Tifa. Yeah,
Well,
okay. I get it.
this game was great because
That's great.
like
That's
it,
great.
not only like if you had no friends, which this helped a lot when you didn't have any friends and you couldn't talk to girls. So
Smile, I'm your friend.
You're very smooth with Tifa.
I would have been your friend, dude. All right, let's just watch
thanks,
this
man.
real quick.
Cloud taught me how to nag girls.
I'm gonna pause this. I honestly, as we were
Is that
going
a
through,
boob?
like, I
never could see it before.
It's so
Yeah.
quick. It passes so quick that I
Wow,
was
that's
like, "How are we
crazy.
looking at it?"
That is wild.
That's a boob,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's a
Yep, and
boob with an
severed
eye on
head.
it.
With an
It's a
eye?
boob with an eye on it, and then the person has like no head. So,
Yeah, severed head.
"Oh!"
That's the best look I've ever gotten at that. That's amazing. Wait, so you don't remember what the deal with Genova is, Sipo?
Honestly, man, I'm like, I remember like the big plots for this. So he starts talking about Sephiroth. Sephiroth brought here a lot more mentions of like Sephiroth, and we don't really understand his character at all. We haven't got too much, just kind of whispers of his character throughout the game.
Wasn't Genova an alien?
So I don't think right now in the plot line they're giving you too much about it.
Oh, I thought they did.
I think
Yeah,
he
we should hold
starts
off,
saying
we should hold
Genova as he's like freaking out, but they're not really telling you much about who this is or what her purpose is in the game so far.
Got it.
So they like pass this area. They see him. They see the Red 13 move on into the lab, and they confront Hojo because Tifa or Eris is like in a pen there as well. They bring Red 13 up to Eris like as if he's going to attack her. Turns out he's like a cool guy. Red 13 talks to you. He is a talking character. He's like, probably more intelligible than Barrett is.
No question.
Game.
No
Like,
question.
You can choose like who you want in your party. I chose Red 13 like immediately. I agree with William. Like Red 13 to me, he was awesome. Like awesome character. I always
Awesome
wanted him-
character. Yeah.
Always wanted him in my group. Who did you guys choose this turn in this round? You guys remember who you chose?
I think I picked. Well, the group splits up too. But like when you like, you're talking about when you can pick from anybody. Who did you
Yeah.
pick?
So this one it splits up because he's like, Hojo ends up running away, and it's like you, and Barrett, Tifa, and Eris. And the group ends up like saying they're going to split up and try to like leave in different groups. And so it splits into one group of 2 and one group of 3.
I think I did Red and Aerith, if I remember correctly.
Red's kind of like a tank character. Barrett's like a tank character. I
I
don't know how you guys are playing him, but that's how I was playing him. I'm playing Red and Barrett as kind of tanks, and then Cloud as kind of a tank too, and then Harrison. Maybe that's just my.
Sounds
You're like,
can't-
boys are
sexist.
tanks. Boys are tanks. My ideal party, and I would throw in, basically I had 4 that I would use a lot: Eris, Barrett, Red 13, and Cloud, obviously. But like my favorite is like those 3 men, Barrett, Cloud, and Red 13. And I would do like casting with materia with Red 13, and then throwing in some physical attacks if that was more effective
Yeah.
for certain things, but mostly just casting, and then Barrett tanking.
Yeah, I
Hitting
would.
the
I would play with those 3 a lot. Like Barrett was always my number 2, and this time around, like knowing, I mean, spoiler, but like just like how could I spend time developing Eris at this point? Like it's awesome that her limit break is healing, and that's like the best thing about her. But like, why waste time on her? Like seriously.
That's fucking cold.
Yeah.
You only have so much time, Usman. This is the time you should be spending on it.
I didn't think of it
I-
like
here's-
that.
Completely anti what Usman says. I was going Red 13, Cloud, and Eris. And I'll stick to that.
I think
the end
that
of my days.
the game is not hard enough that I care to like not level her. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
also the other characters, what is it? They all gain like half XP from what your main party is getting, or something
really?
like that.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
it's not like they are static.
Okay.
But of course, if you want to use them, that's what I would like cycle her in. But I was like, just because that limit break is nasty.
Yeah.
With like bosses especially, like it's kind of nice, but I felt like it's not like the game's not so hard that like you don't need
Can't
to
do this.
I had trouble at this part where it's a do you want to switch your materia, and I didn't know what the right choice was,
Yeah.
so I ended up like taking my 3 people down to the elevator fight with no healing materia.
Yeah.
Oh,
Me too.
shit.
Yeah.
Me too.
And
Wow.
so I blew through all my potions, and then when I got to Cloud, he had no healing materia or potions, I think. And I was
Oh,
like,
no.
I'm done.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
I had to restart because of that same thing.
Wow.
I
I missed
restarted,
that.
yeah.
I missed that portion of the materia. Well, so you split up as you're leaving. You have that you get like captured by Shinra people on the elevator, and they take you to the president, who like has the other 2 people as well, and then he's like saying we got you or whatever, and ends up putting you in jail. There's like a back and forth between Eris and Cloud, where she kind of talks about, I think, how she hears like whispers from the ancients or things like this, which kind of gives you more kind of a hint that she's got some sort of like connection with these group of people, like the past, the ancients. Everyone goes to sleep, and then they wake up, and I'm like, everyone's dead. everyone's dead.
This is where
Like-
this shit takes, to me,
Yeah.
it really takes it up a notch here.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Everyone's dead, and they escape. He is able to kind of get everyone out. They all kind of go all the way back up to the president's room, and he's like curled over his desk with like a sword stuck in his back. The
Wow.
same sword that in that flashback that you see of Tifa's
Destiny.
when we watch, yeah, the exact Destiny. It was like Destiny's father was killed, which we assume is like Sephiroth's sword, right?
Sephiroth's sword.
So like President Shinra is dead, and like right after that is the introduction of Rufus. Rufus is the president's son,
Yeah.
who's also just a huge dick, like a huge asshole.
Even more so almost.
More so, even more so.
Yeah.
More so. He's pissed off at Sephiroth too for killing his dad, but also like his whole angle is he like wants to make sure to like get this whole ancient thing going on, and that he can like they can extract that material like he wants to.
Mako.
It's called Mako, you're right, Mako. There's several boss fights here. I think you end up fighting Rufus for a little bit, but he ends up escaping. There's like an elevator scene where you like end up going down this elevator and escaping. And then there's like ultimately this like escape on motorcycles. Actually, I want to show that part too, if that's okay.
It's a great
that's so good.
cutscene.
Yeah, it's a
So
good
Such a
good.
great cutscene.
And that like you actually control the motorcycle, right? And you have to
Yeah.
like there's
So
like it's like a
awesome.
mini game. So good. So
Yeah.
good.
Such a fun game, mini
Yeah.
game. Like you could play it in the Golden Tower later.
Mhm.
Oh, that's right.
That's the kind of thing that I like about this game. And like it like really it does things like this. Like it really like it throws things in there that like breaks up the game, that like
Yes.
the monotony of the game, makes it like interesting to like play a little longer.
Yeah, it makes it more dynamic. It's like all different. You never know what to expect. Red 13, so badass.
When was Matrix released, by the way?
99.
Because this is like this.
Yeah. It's
I forgot
Love
to
this
have that
truck.
that truck.
I love that truck.
Here it gets in the back, yeah.
I would drive a truck
necessary to
that looked
crash
like
through.
that.
No need. And it's really thick. You can see like the shards of it are like super thick.
Awesome.
Nice.
Love all the gyrating.
This is so great.
Into the streets, and then you do this like directional like motorcycle thing. I also like. I feel like I played this with the thumbsticks, and I really wish I would have done with directional paths. I did not do this very well. By this time in the game, were you playing with a directional pad, Cam?
I was playing with the thumbstick too.
Yeah. Did you? I sucked at it. I don't think I was able to do it.
I got pretty good at this.
Oh, okay. Just me.
So I'm pretty coordinated with this.
This guy that we're seeing is not very good.
Yeah.
Letting that guy destroy your.
Yeah.
Don't kill that one.
Jonathan's not very good.
I also found, if you like squeeze the enemy into the wall, eventually they would just crash and hit the guy behind him.
Oh, that's good.
A lot of road rash on here. What was it?
Road Rash. What a game.
Great game.
Great
Great
game.
game.
Great game. So you fight this guy. You fight through these guys. Finally, you make it past all this, and we'll end with the final kind of cutscene here.
Oh yeah, the Batmobile.
Oh yeah, you have to like stop and fight this thing, huh?
Yeah. Final boss of this section. that guy. Let's watch this.
You got to settle the score.
Yeah. Doesn't even think about his child. He's like, I'm going.
Yeah.
Rebecca.
Rebecca's heiress.
Rebecca. I just love Destiny.
Destiny is like a stripper name, and like Rebecca is like the respectable character. It's like
Yeah.
Believe me, God.
Jonathan.
Wait, by the way, so they do get out on another one of those like chains.
Chains
Yeah.
big role in this game.
Yeah.
From a
Best supporting character.
yeah,
I
best
was
supporting
about-
character Chains.
I was about to make the joke that
From
they're
a
going to
sex
grab onto
dungeon.
another one of those and just swing out, and that is exactly what happens.
From a sex dungeon to escaping from a tower to finally getting out of Midgar.
Wow. When he says that he has to settle the score, like what exactly is he referring to with Sephiroth?
Who? Cloud?
Mhm.
He's gonna take revenge for him killing the president of Shinra. I mean,
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, why would
No.
he doesn't care about that,
I
surely.
think
You would get into it.
we get into it. I'll
Yeah,
play it a little bit
yeah.
further to they give a little more backstory like immediately.
so Will doesn't
Okay, so
know
in-
all the plot.
No,
I thought
no,
he
what
knew every
What I'm saying is, in that moment, I was like,
Don't
do
know
we
that.
even, why?
No.
And I feel like this game does that a lot. And like again, like as like playing in second play, like the second glance, I can like appreciate a lot better. But especially like these are things that are just completely lost upon me, and things that I wouldn't at the time when I first played it, I wouldn't have even like thought a second thought about it. I was just been like, all right, whatever, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Like I'm like more interested to see how this kind of pans out and that storyline as it moves forward.
Because at that point, we have not had the flashback where they go back and he's like an early recruit and you
No,
get to see
none of
him
that.
like on
None of that.
an early mission with
Yeah.
Sephiroth. Like,
All we know about Sephiroth is that like he's kind of a dick. He murders. He's okay with murdering people. He's okay with that. He's like
And-
he's like pretty powerful because he killed everybody there.
yeah.
Has multiple swords.
Has multiple swords. Yeah, he can just
He
drop
just look-
swords. He just drops swords everywhere.
and they do kind of allude more vaguely to like a beef that he has with when I say he, I mean Cloud has with Soldier and Sephiroth and kind of Soldier in general, you know,
Yeah.
and he's like not, it's like
Yeah.
he's got bad history with them.
And Tifa's like, see somebody die, and obviously it's Sephiroth because of the sword, so we know that something bad happened there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah.
So like overall, what do you guys think of the like the characters as a present? Is there any particular person that I think William was saying he likes Red 13's your favorite so far in this
I mean, you don't get much of him yet, so you know, I think at this point it's like probably Barrett.
yeah.
But I just, as the game develops, like he just is such a steady force in the game. I think he's so awesome. But yeah, probably Barrett for me at this point.
Is
I think
anybody-
that the team up of Cloud and Barrett is just like so iconic.
Yeah.
And they just seem like they go well together in terms of like a strong like distance attack and like a sword attack. I don't know if it really if it really matters, but it just seems cool.
I think it does. That was another thing that I completely missed, even in this playthrough. I wasn't until I was kind of looking through the walkthroughs. Do you guys like adjust the distance?
Yes.
I don't do
Totally
any of that.
forgot
I
about
didn't do
that.
that.
Back
Yeah,
row.
yeah.
Front row, back row.
I don't
Yeah,
do any of that.
I had actually forgotten about that. So yeah, front row, you are I think it's if you are in the back row and you're melee, you are it's like a damage modifier, like you get I don't think you do as much damage from the back row with melee weapons. But if you're ranged, then it doesn't matter. And then I think also like either you're more likely to take attacks or you take more damage in the front row, something like that. Also, there are like mechanics like that. I can't quite recall.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely be messing around with that because I did not use that at all. Like,
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, it did
at all.
not, didn't click with me.
I was probably on some.
I think there is like a tutorial where
Oh,
it
for sure.
explains it to you.
Yeah, that sounds like a tutorial I would have definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skip.
Yeah, like Eris comes already like set up as like a rear back player. So when you've got them lined up, you're like, why is this shifted? But I don't even know the button or how to do it. I'd like
It's
to
Do it
in,
in the
it's in the
menu.
menu. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
in the menu. Okay.
Mhm.
I think it's like there is an order. It says order. I think.
Order. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of like the fighting mechanics just in general?
I thought that I hated turn-based, but after playing the remake and choosing to not do turn-based in that, and then going back and playing this, I actually really appreciate how they did it and that style. And I actually think I've been wanting to play the remake again, and I think I would change it and start over and do turn-based just
Turn-based.
because it's like it's part of what makes the game such a fun game to play. Yeah.
I really I haven't played a game like this in a long time, and again, I think this is like one of the older style of games that you like. You're going through a map, and you don't like, you know that there's some sort of timing mechanic where you're gonna have to fight somebody through like a map or through a level, and you don't know what's gonna happen. But whenever it pops up, you're like, oh shit, okay, here we go. Like that feeling is exciting. Like I don't know.
That music comes up.
Yeah, you're like, all right, let's do this. Like, I really like that a lot. Like, I wish there were, like, there's not much like you see usually like in new games that you see the person you're gonna fight and you can avoid if you want to avoid or not. There's not that anticipation of that sort of thing happening. I think it's really well done.
Yeah. I think the what is it called? Is it ATS or what is it called? The bar at the like
The limit.
well, I was just saying like how the whole system, there's a name for the system in
Oh,
which
yeah,
like the
no.
bar
It's
fills
like
up and then you can do
active something. It's
Yeah.
not totally turn based. There's like an element of time to it.
Yeah, it's like a something. But I think I really like that because I think that like you can also like pass on your turn and just managing the bars and then like getting proficient with like getting like the fewest keystrokes to like get where you want and like knowing exactly where it's going to be in the menu and like doing everything as quickly as possible, I think is like a fun little mini game while you're fighting. And there are some times where like you're fighting a boss or something, you're like all nervous, like you're trying to select like, you're like you go past the thing you want, you're like, nah. And like I think that is like a fun element to the game,
Yeah, I fuck that up all the time. Like, I need to chill out when I'm playing this. Like, when I'm in the boss fights, there's so many times where I'll like skip or like not do anything because I'm like, I gotta do something real quick.
I think it's like not intuitive how to select. Like if you're gonna want to cast something on somebody, like, and you accidentally you're almost casting cure on the enemy. Like why? Like that happens too much. That is like my one complaint.
Yeah, I would say that too. But I think that also I kind of blame my. I'm gonna start using the directional pad kind of exclusive because I think the thumbstick also is part of that too. Like I'm trying to like use the thumbstick to move to people when really it's just like an up down left to right situation.
Yeah, you're right.
And I'm just messing with the thumbstick too much.
Yeah. But yeah, the limit breaks it's so satisfying when you get a limit break.
Yeah.
And like even though Tifa's isn't that great, it's fun when you can line up like and get a really good one. She has like that slot machine thing where like you sometimes it's like shitty, but like other times like if you actually line it up, it's like great.
I never get that, and that's probably why Tifa's not like that
Mhm.
fun of a character.
Well, are you
to be
playing on
honest.
3X? Are you trying to do it on 3X?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
After-
yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do it on 3X.
Not gonna be able to do it.
Yeah.
Not gonna be able to do
I can do it.
it.
But nevertheless, it's just she's just not quite as good as some of the other characters. I mean, it's just a fact.
What about the enemies that pop up? I like can't get over how like one of them is like a house, like
The
yeah,
house,
it's
yeah.
just like what the shit? Like what's going on with that? Like there was some with like robots, like okay, I get that, and like you know, panthers. There's some that are like panthers for a little bit. I'm like, okay, I get
Mechanical
these guys.
Panthers.
Got panthers for a little bit, but then like you're attacked by a house,
Mm.
and that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. No,
There's
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of like pure goofy randomness, which
Yeah.
is
It's
like
like
who knows who you're gonna
Miyazaki
fight.
Weirdness.
Yeah,
Where it's just like
yeah.
some weird thing, you know, like yeah. But I think that the 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 whole aesthetic of all the enemies is really fun because it's like who knows, it's so random and you don't know what they're gonna do necessarily. Like if you see a panther, it's like okay, it's gonna claw me, but it's like a house. Like I don't even know how it's gonna
How does
attack.
it-
What is it even gonna do? I don't know what it's gonna do, you know?
rockets.
But
Clearly,
when you combine that kind of fun element with the sounds and the music from the battles and the sound that it makes when you defeat enemies and when you make contact with a physical attack or with a different
Yeah.
spell or whatever, like the sound mixing is so awesome.
all right, guys. It sounds like we're all pretty happy with so far. The next stop is going to be. I think we all know Eris dies, right? It's not. This is not
Huh.
What?
Our next stop is going to be after Eris dies. I think same thing. Let's give 3 weeks to finish this. Let's not next time should really try to do your part. Okay, we're all doing our part. You try to do your part. Too.
Yeah, you're right. I gotta step up.
By
Yeah.
the way, there is after you leave Midgar, there are
Hold on, I gotta pee real bad.
Okay.
Let's take a little break because I feel like this is important because we're fans. Very bad.
yeah, I was just going to talk about using the guide because
Yeah.
there are some stuff that there are some things that you can do conveniently quickly and that I would have never done without the guide, and I think it makes sense to do that if you want to. Because there's shit that like there's like a whole other character, a playable character that I
Two.
literally never got in the game the first time that I played through.
So
Did you get the
Vincent,
two? Or
Huh?
did you get the two of them, or did you just get one of them?
Yuffie, I don't know who you're referring to. I got Yuffie.
Well, there's
and I
Vincent and there's
prefer
Yuffie.
Vincent, is he the pilot guy?
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
that's Sid. Sid is the pilot guy. Vincent
yeah.
is the vampire dude.
Yeah.
No, I've gotten Yuffie. I don't think the guide takes you to Vincent right then. But,
Okay. Yeah, I think that's later.
But Yuffie is one that like she's like got the like I don't remember what those things are called, like the circular thing that you throw. And I literally just never picked her up the first playthrough ever.
She's completely missable.
What were you
Her
saying?
and Vincent
I was
both.
just saying, Sita, that right when you leave Midgar, if you follow the guide, it takes you on some sort of like side quest diversions that are optional that you could take if you want to. And one of them allows you to pick up a character, an entire playable character that I don't think we ever even got the first time that
No.
we played through.
No, I was reading like
That's
one of
crazy. You can get that so early.
The
Yeah.
podcast we were talking about, talking about that, and I really just want to play the game. Like, I really just want to play the game. Like, but I also don't want to miss it. Apparently, there's another character too that we completely missed. That is also like, and I think the second character was like a character I've seen in other, like referenced in other places, and I was like, I didn't know that was from Final Six.
Yeah, I think we were just talking about that. Yeah.
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 So like, I'm like, I think I'm gonna look at the walkthrough to get that character. I'm gonna use the walkthrough very sparsely though. Like, I don't think.
I would say I think this is a good time to look at it and see if you want to pursue these kinds of
Yeah.
things. Because you can also go to that mountain where you have that like mini game where
Yeah.
you know, the dudes like come up and you fight them. Like it's like you're putting down fighters, and it's like a
I don't even know what you're
battle
talking about.
simulator. It's like a
I'll
war
look into it.
simulator.
It's like yeah, Concord something or no. Wait.
I can't remember. Oh yeah, yeah. Because it's like a giant bird that's at the top of it or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll look into that too. 'Cause I'm
Canyon,
against all
something
that.
canyon.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it's something canyon. Yeah, yeah. But anyway, that's all stuff that you can do. That's fun as well. If this is a time when you can do some of that stuff like conveniently and quickly before moving on. Just heads up.
Yep.
All
Good
right.
call.
I don't think anyone's ever going to want to listen to this. So good luck to whoever recorded this.
No, can you upload it or can you share it with us? And
We should make like a
okay,
drive.
awesome. I might want to
Yeah.
just like mess around with it, like edit it and throw on some like B-roll and just
Put
for
penises in
fun.
the
See
face.
if we can like get something.
It'll be
don't
it'll
know.
be a bonus episode when we're like
We'll put it on a
years
Patreon.
in.
On
Like
the
here
Yeah.
was the first one.
Bonus.
Yeah.
So there was the 7th. Let's try to do this again. You guys want to try to do it like 3 weeks is okay? 4 weeks? You guys want to do this every month?